DJ Rico, introduce yourselves to the people one more time. Go.
Hi, I'm DJ Recode. I make a lot of songs that are not new metal, and I've loved new metal forever. And then I decided I was gonna make new metal, and here I am. So.
Pleasure having you on the program. I apologize for the technical difficulties. I had this weird feeling about Twitch and their beta software stream together that it was going to do this, but hey, adversity is the mother of invention. So I'd like to thank you once again for coming on our program. You're our first ever guest. The minute I heard your track, I needed to reach out right away. You had already sent it. This feels like a connection that should have happened quite a while ago and almost did. But let's take it back to the start. Why don't you introduce your new metal bona fides and where you're coming from as an artist?
Yeah. So when I was like very, very young, I remember distinctly like I got an iPod from my dad that like he was just like collecting songs, and I had it like I think it was Dracula, like the one that like the Matrix version or whatever. And I was like, oh fuck, like what is this? And I was like, oh, it's like this thing called new metal, but like at the time it wasn't even called that, I don't think. And I remember being like, this is so sick. But then time went on, and I made electronic music instead because it just was easier. I was not very good at guitar. And then I spent many years making music and doing hyper pop and stuff like that. And then all the while still wanted to be like a rock star. And then I remember distinctly like, oh, let me like go back and think about all the stuff I used to do or used to listen to, like Korn and Flyleaf and Evanescence and like the kind of like the staples. And like more like the female-led vocalist new metal was kind of like what I remembered. But like really intensely like Korn, like all the like the way that they would make everything like so gross and bloody, and all of the like harmonics that would like rip apart the entire song was so interesting to me. And I think I reached like a point of being musically inclined enough that I was like, oh, I can like start writing guitar now. So I like got a plugin that makes guitar stuff, and I've been writing guitar in it. So like that's what most of this is.
So you don't have any live guitars.
This song in particular, Tracy did some for the bridge part. Like it gets so cold out here. That's like me and Tracy were talking and writing that together, and she was playing it. But all of the intense like choruses and stuff and the breakdown and all of that, no, that's all MIDI guitar.
Got it. And let's talk more about your collaborator on this track and some of the roles here. So you're doing the instrumental, or it's like an instrumental collaboration, vocals, all that?
Yeah, we were both on, it was just one of those, like, we're both on Discord working on a song together.
You know what? The song in question, by the way, I just want to make sure everyone knows. Can you just reintroduce the song and the featured artist for us real quick?
Yes, we are talking about Bloodbox featuring Tracy Breaks. It is single 1 of 2 for my upcoming album, which you cannot know the name of yet because it's a secret.
And describe that collaboration and let us know. I mean, I think it sounds brilliant to me. Like, let's just be real. It's time for us to take the opportunities from the Grimeses of the world and bring them your way, because that is done. That wave is done. They had their chance. It's time. We're moving on. Now, as for your taking the crown of this one, why don't we talk a little bit more about that collaboration and how that's going to play out on the album?
Mm-hmm. So working with Tracy is always like, me and Tracy have known each other forever. And I have a lot of friends who are like online, but I have flown out many a time to see Tracy and hang out. So we like know each other very well, and working together like kind of just works. Like we had other songs that are more hyper pop that were like collabs that worked, and I was like doing like, I was listening to like a lot of early demos of her works and stuff, and we were like critiquing each other back and forth. And I was starting working on this album a long time ago, and it kind of was just like on the back burner. But then I was like, okay, well, I need to create a collaborator list for this album, because that's just kind of how I work. Every album has to have like people that I work with on it. That's just how I work the best. And I was like, okay, well, I have to call Tracy first. I mean, obviously. So like I called Tracy, and we were already like talking about like new metal related things, and I was like, do you want to make like a rock song? And she was like, yeah. So we mostly just did it on Discord. I didn't see her personally for any of it. but I remember the original. I had the breakcore part already. I had written that and was playing with this new guitar MIDI that I just like learned how to use. And after that, I was like, "Yo, listen to this. Like, what do you think?" And she was like, "Oh, I got it. I know what's going on." So
Was this a new sort of creation for you for your collaborator with like a rock song? It sounds like you kind of was kind of a left turn.
yeah, I had done rock before with Rilo. We did this like micro band called Black Panic, which we did for like a kind of a brief period of time, which is still alive. We just haven't like gotten around to it. But uh, I was like, I need to make another mainline album, and I don't want it to be hyperpop again because the character that this is focused on is a different character. Like there's a lot of plot and things going on. Each album has a story. There's like people doing like an ARG scavenger hunt right now about the album. Like every video has clues. There's all sorts of stuff going on. But this album is like very intensely about this separate character who is the sister of my character, and therefore the genre is different.
Oh, so you're going for it, like with the whole ARG, with everything. You're not just like here's the album. It's gonna be a project, an experience.
Yeah, I mean, I got a manager for this album. Like, I was very intense about like this is like a really serious thing, um, and like I make most of the video edits and stuff with all the clues, and I run the Discord. But like I have like my boyfriend Ness, who is my artist, and he's like my editor, and I have kind of like a photographer and man, like it's a whole like team working on this multimedia project. There's going to be animations if I actually get around to everything like working out. So it's like really elaborate.
I love this. Love the sound of this. This was something that we just took for granted. We took for granted in the golden years of major label money, was that they would create a whole little experience around the album's release. You had Korn taking on Canada with a tank for Follow the Leader's release, and they had their web streams and stuff. Artists now, I feel like artists now are like, take a selfie. That's the album cover going on. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Korn mentioned once again. Mello, make some noise. Is that vintage? Okay. I was so excited for a second there. You know what? Hot Topic is its own sort of vintage. That counts. But
I wasn't cool enough to buy this stuff back then. I wasn't cool enough back then to like buy things new metal related. I was like very nerdy.
we need to talk later and spin the technical difficulties we're having into a part of the ARG. Let's just thread it in there somehow so it's not embarrassing. That was a part of it all along. It was a metaphor there if you listen closely. Anyway. So with the rock elements coming through in the sound, is the album proper coming up? Are you thinking like, first of all, the album, is it done?
Yes, it is done.
Okay. How much more new metal can we expect on that record? Because I'd hate to have to bring you back on like it's Oprah or something and be like, I trusted in you. I'm so disappointed. The rest of it was ambient, shoegaze.
No. It's all new metal.
It's all new metal, the whole thing.
Yeah, you'll see it more in the next song where the genres start to blend a little bit. But I think I was like calling it like new metal. Well, when I did Recode Pop, which is like the first two albums I did, it was like one large project. It was called Recode Pop because it was a genre in itself that I was trying to invent, which is very narcissistic of me, but you know what I mean. And the second one, the name of it is also a genre thing. It's like another one, like a spin on that name, but I'm keeping it secret until it comes out. But it is mostly new metal with like hard style influences and like electro house and things like that, where it kind of all blends together into this big mess of intensity.
We need to give our artists the latitude to be narcissistic enough to invent their own genres again. It's time for us to bring that back. We need creative narcissism back in the scene, right? Because that's what we used to have. We used to have artists being like, I'm inventing my own genre with this one, and this music has never been made before, and DreamWorks has given me $400,000 to shoot this music video. And now it's like if we say the F word in the first verse, TikTok is not going to push our song. Like that's the other end that we've ended up at now, where it's like we can't say the swear. We have to go viral. So let's bring back narcissism, recode metal. That was the problem, is you tried to invent your genre and you were like, it already exists. It's new metal. Fuck.
Yeah, there's parts of it that I don't know. It starts to travel as the album goes on. It like changes, and I will say that this is like the most like depressing thing I've ever done. So it gets really violent, and I was like literally thinking like, oh, should I like put like because in the current day and age, I was like, should I put like a trigger warning on this album? Like this album gets like really, for at least for my fans, is like really visceral and talks about a lot of stuff that like is really like physically violent. And I was like, okay, like is this something I need to talk about, or should I just drop it? Like, how do I go about this? I mean, like, I will reveal slightly, but like Prodigal, the song that is coming up, is just entirely about killing somebody. So it's just like, you know, like hyperpop doesn't usually talk about that kind of thing. So it's like I have to figure out like where my fans are existing and like how far into new metal I'm going. Who am I trying to attract?
You know, the thing about like trigger warning is, so I believe this happened. Yes, this song. So the song "Never Too Late" by 3 Days Grace. Right? Are we familiar?
Yes.
Right. If you go on YouTube to watch that video, YouTube puts a trigger warning on the video because it's like, this contains mention of suicide stuff, and it's like, it's a song about not killing yourself. Why would you prevent someone from watching this video? Right? So you see how it's like, you don't want to trigger warning something too hard, because like the music in therein, maybe it's a little ugly, maybe you go there, maybe it's a little too visceral, but at the end of the day, it might help somebody, it might save somebody. And you can, if you want to be like, no, this is not music for saving people, you can say that. But I do think that it's like we have to figure out how to be equitable to people that maybe don't want to stomach that, while also trusting in our audience to understand our intent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I am very pro making sure that people are aware of what they're getting into, because especially with me, where my fan base was like the first albums had intense stuff on it, but like I remember distinctly, like people like weren't even necessarily picking up on it because the songs were so like happy and hyperpop and glitzy. They were like, oh, like this is so fun, even though like a song might be about suicide or something. So this one, because it's metal, now has this like precedent of like, if you're talking about the same thing but there's a metal riff going over it, now it's violent. So it's like,
good point.
Yeah, but I think what I'm probably going to do, and I already did this once, is like when the album like is about to come out, be like, yo, like trigger warning on the album, but I just like post about it once, and it's like, you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't, because like the whole piece of music as itself is like not meant to have that kind of thing on it.
Let me tell you. Let me ask you about this. So this was literally just happening. I was playing your song, I was introducing you, and I was referring to you and your music as hyperpop. I already started feeling kind of embarrassed to even say it, because like hyperpop is the new metal in a lot of different ways, and I think one of those ways is now people, when they get called that genre, I think artists, musicians are like, ugh, like we don't really consider ourselves hyperpop. We were always just doing our own thing. How does the tag feel for you when someone such as this refers to you as such?
I think hyperpop is like totally fine for me, at least. Like I remember very distinctly when I was making music, like actually creating the DJ Recode like brand and like figuring that out. I was like, okay, like I'm gonna make hyperpop. That's what I'm gonna make. I mean, like Recode pop is its own genre within that, but like it's hyperpop, like duh. I totally get why people don't like it. I mean, like I don't like it because it kind of pigeonholes me into stuff, but like even though it's like kind of true. Where it's like
it's such a Spotify name now, right? Like it's very playlist core.
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of like, I literally in my mind, I'm like, oh, like you can call me hyperpop so I can get on the playlist again. Like it's kind of playing into the hands of this big corporate machine so you can get money. But I think this time around, I'm kind of like spitting in their face a little bit. I mean, I think they're like, they probably won't put me on the playlist at this time. Maybe they will.
You're on our playlist. You're on the new metal playlist. You're at the top. You're at the top of the new metal playlist. In fact, yes, you were all the way up at number 1. It was listen. I'm telling you, I'm going to say this again. you know, from me to you, from me to the people in chat. I heard this song. I was floored. I could not DM you fast enough. I'm not even sure if the song had ended. I was like, I need to be in touch. I need to be in touch immediately, because it's artists like you and like Cheem and your friends Cheem and all these other artists that I'm trying to showcase on the show, where it's like, yeah, this is what I want new metal to sound like. People that are thinking so hard about what it could come next from it. And what I hear when I listen to this song is a very concentrated effort from you to make music that hasn't been made before. And that's why it goes so fast and it's so frenzied, and it's like 18 different songs all happening at one time. And it's I think some of the most encouraging stuff that I've read recently about the genre and about artists within the genre is how, like, I posted this meme about a really bad band opening for Deftones, and all these people were like, that's how I felt about 100 Gex. And I was like, good. That's what we should want out of our heavy pop musicians, is to make you say, I don't like this, or I do like this. Like, we need to be platforming the artists that create opinion in people, you know? Because that's how, like, a lot of hyperpop is a lot of the hyperpop is actually just kind of like ambient background music. And the one thing you cannot say about Recode Repop?
Recode pop.
Recode pop is it's not background music. You can't just ignore it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember very distinctly that when it came out, people were very like, well, I didn't grow up listening to hyperpop. I wasn't in the scene when it was brand new. I came in.
I was gonna say, I was like, did anyone grow up listening to hyperpop? It wasn't that long ago, was it?
There's definitely people who are like, yeah, I remember this. Like, I'm like, how old are you? But like, there's people who, like, when COVID was hitting, were really like, I'm into hyperpop. Like, this is my thing, and then it became really big, and people were into it even earlier with, like, Kid Trash and people like that. So it was interesting to see, like, coming into it later, and then I released Rico Pop, and I think I released it at the same. We had a dual release party with Dynastic for Dinah's album, and people were like responding to it like, I don't know what this is, and I was like, oh, it's just like hyperpop, and they're like, no, I've never heard of this before. so like sometimes people will be like really critical of it, like on RYM or whatever, and then some people are like, this is, I feels like I listened to 1,000 Gex again. I'm like, okay, sure. So people are very like polarized, like what you were saying. People are like, either this is awesome or I hate this.
Well, you know what? The next time someone gives you grief about it, you could just be like, hey, the CEO told me it was new metal, so this is new metal. And they can't say nothing about it. They can take it up with me. So take it up with him. Take it up with him. All right?
I was literally you gave me a channel on the new metal Discord, and I went to my boyfriend. I was like, oh, am I new metal now? And he was like, oh yeah, you're new metal. And I was like, oh, okay. That's really cool.
That's it. It's a rap. What I say goes in that sphere. It's new metal, and it's really just a matter of, like, you know, first of all, you are comfortable with the idea, right, of being new metal. This isn't.
Oh yeah. Okay. I want to.
Okay, because I don't want to necessarily drag people into making this happen. But I do think that's about a wrap from us. I'm gonna be turning it back over now to. We're going to do a couple requests. But DJ Rico, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show to speak to us. Thank you for being our first guest ever! Really appreciate it. It was a pleasure having you. And if you are the future of new metal, then the future is in good hands. Once we are off of here, I'm going to give you one more shot on the... I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. I'd like to apologize on air about that. We will just do this shit on Zoom next time is what we're going to do. Because clearly Twitch does not have it together. So I'm going to turn the mic over to the speaker that you're speaking out of. One more time, I want you to tell the people with your voice where they can find you, what you got coming up. And then once you're off air, drop all your info in chat. I'm telling you people out there in the audience, you're going to add some stuff to your Spotify playlists today. So one more time, DJ Rico, let the people know how to find you.
Okay, so you can find me on Twitter at DJ Recode. I think there's an underscore. I don't remember. If you search it, it'll find me. On Instagram, the same thing. On Spotify, on SoundCloud, everything. Just remember the colon. That's how it'll show up. I have my newest single with underscores, Prodigal, coming out on December 1st. And the album will come out hopefully soon after that. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you guys for being super chill in chat. And peace.
What a pleasure. Thank you so much. We'll be issuing you off of the screen right now. Thank you.